morning and welcome to the first head-to-head gubernatorial forum of the 1998 general election season organized by the Junior League of Birmingham. I'm Melina Cunningham, NBC 13 News anchor, and we're glad you could be here this evening. For the next hour, you will get your first chance to see and to hear this year's two gubernatorial candidates speak on the issues that affect you. But first, let me introduce them to you. This year's nominee for the Democratic Party is current Lieutenant Governor Don Siegelman. And this year's Republican nominee is incumbent Governor Fob James. Gentlemen, welcome to our show tonight. Here is the format that the Junior League of Birmingham has designed for tonight's candidates. Now, each candidate will begin with an opening statement. Then, following a short break, a panel selected by the Junior League will ask the candidates a series of questions. And later, members of tonight's Junior League audience will get a chance to ask the candidates questions as well. And at the end, each candidate will be allowed a short closing statement. And now I would like to introduce the panel that the Junior League members have selected to ask the questions for tonight. They are Dr. Charles Mason, who is superintendent of the Mountain Brook School System, Elaine Witt, who is a columnist with the Birmingham Post-Herald, and Tarinda Williams, a student at Birmingham Southern College and the former Miss Junior Miss of America. Welcome to each of you tonight. Well, finally, here's a quick look at the rules of tonight's Junior League Forum. Each candidate will have 4 minutes for an opening statement. Then each question that is asked will be directed to both candidates. They will each have a minute and a half to answer the question. There will be no follow-up question allowed. And we will alternate which candidate will answer each question first. Now, finally, there will be a 1-minute closing statement from each of the candidates. And we want to remind the audience that in the interest of time, we ask that you only applaud after the opening and closing statements. Now, earlier this evening, it was decided by the candidates and the Junior League of Birmingham who would begin with the opening statements. Mr. Siegelman is up first. You have 4 minutes for your opening statement. You may begin now.
Ladies and gentlemen, there can be no clearer choice for Governor of Alabama than the choice between Fob James and Don Siegelman. The people of Alabama deserve a governor with the will to be governor and the ability to actually get something done. That is not Fob James, that is Don Siegelman. The people of Alabama deserve a governor who will give the students of this state a voluntary preschool program, state-of-the-art computers, and college scholarships for every high school graduate, and pay for it with an Alabama lottery for education. That certainly is not Fob James, that is Don Siegelman. The people of Alabama deserve a governor who has a plan to fight school violence. That's not Fob James. The people of Alabama deserve a governor who will get rid of dangerous portable classrooms. That is not Fob James. The people of Alabama deserve a governor who will raise the standards and raise the quality of education in K through 12. That is not Fob James. That is Don Siegelman. I am the only candidate for governor with a plan to change education in Alabama forever and a plan to pay for it with an Alabama lottery for education. First, we will give Alabama 4-year-olds the head start they deserve with a pre-kindergarten program. Next, we'll put the world's knowledge at the fingertips of every Alabama child with state-of-the-art computers in every school. And third, we will shatter the financial barriers and open the doors of higher education to every high school graduate. And unlike Fob James's plan, my plan lets every high school graduate attend college tuition-free. My message to Alabama students is simple. Work hard, stay in school, stay out of trouble, make your grades, and nothing will hold you back. You will have earned the right to higher education. Now, Fob James says that it can't be done, it shouldn't be done, and it won't be done because Fob James opposes a lottery for education. But I'm here tonight to tell you that it can be done. It is being done right now in the state of Georgia. In Georgia, 300,000 college students have gotten their chance at life through Georgia's Hope College Scholarship Program. 240,000 Georgia 4-year-olds have gotten their head start through Georgia's preschool program, and every single Georgia school has state-of-the-art computers, every single one. Now, Fob James will tell you tonight that a lottery is wrong. I want to tell you what I think's wrong. What I think is wrong is for a working mother to hold down 2 or 3 jobs, to scrimp and save, to work her heart out, knowing that no matter how hard she works, no matter how much she saves, she can never save up enough to send her son or her daughter to college. That's what I think's wrong. I think it's wrong for a child to work hard, to stay in school, to stay out of trouble, to graduate from high school, and then to be told he can't go on to college for one reason: he doesn't have the money. That's what I think's wrong. Fob James will tell you that we don't need a lottery in Alabama, but folks, if we're honest with ourselves, we'll admit that we already have a lottery in Alabama. Hundreds of millions of dollars have left this state to buy lottery tickets in other states. I want to keep that money here in Alabama to send our kids to preschool, to buy state-of-the-art computers for our schools, and to send our children to college. Ladies and gentlemen, the choice is clear. The time is now. I ask for your help to be elected governor of this great state.
Thank you, Mr. Siegelman. And now, Governor James, you have 4 minutes for your opening statements. You may begin now.
Thank you so very much, and let me thank members of the Junior League for sponsoring this debate. And ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your presence. And let me begin in agreeing with the Lieutenant Governor on one statement. There's not much agreement between the two of us, if any. You got to look hard for it. He is exactly right in that account. In Alabama, the governor is the principal architect of public policy. This duty demands decision-making, not consensus taking. That is the establishment of priorities and the perseverance and tenacity to see them through. In 1995, I made education from kindergarten through college our top priority by proposing the Alabama Education Improvement Act of 1995 and supporting the College Program Viability Act of 1996. The Alabama legislature passed both acts into law and the work began. In K through 12, number 1, by law, authority to maintain discipline was restored to teachers with full authority to use corporal punishment, expulsion, but to maintain discipline. Number 2, real value was restored to an Alabama high school diploma by requiring students to pass a core curriculum in grades 9, 10, 11, and 12 rather than English and social studies in grades 11 and 12 only. Number 3, accountability became reality by requiring the state superintendent of education after a 2-year alert period to assume management of any school failing to meet standards as determined by the Stanford Achievement Test scores. Number 4, academic funding increased by over $1.5 billion annually. $1.5 billion annually. So-called lottery is supposed to bring in $150 million. We increased it $500 million. As a result, over 2,500 new teachers have been hired, driving our student-teacher ratios down to the lowest ever. And over 2,500 new school buses have been purchased to enhance safety from home to school. Further, with 2 bond issues passed, and leveraging the 3 mil public school fund, over $1.2 billion have been made available to eliminate subpar classrooms, portable and permanent, to provide computer networking for schools. It's all in the works at this hour. My friend Don, it's a done deal. Our students now meet or exceed the national average on the SAT scores. A good step toward the top spot. Child by child, class by class, school by school. Let's see it through. No easy way out. No gamble. Parents have to assume responsibility. Government has limitations. It cannot teach your child right from wrong. The College Program Viability Act, under which we now work, mandates we pursue quality, not quantity, in our 2- and 4-year schools, and that is the right way. In 1997, the Merit Scholarship Plan, which I supported, passed the Alabama House. 96-0 vote. It was passed out of the Senate Education F&T Committee by a 9-1 vote. It was not put on the Senate calendar by my friend Don Siegelman, and it died. If not for this lack of action by my friend Don, several thousand Alabama students would be in college on scholarship today. My Alabama Scholars Plan will provide a full college scholarship to every graduating high school senior with a B average and an ACT score of at least 20. By any measurement of the past, my plan will pass in the next regular session of the Alabama legislature. And that's the right way to achieve excellence in education from kindergarten through college graduation.
Thank you, Mr. James. And as you can see, our candidates have come out swinging. Right now, we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have questions from the panel that has been selected tonight. Stay with us. This is an NBC 13 News special report, the 1998 Gubernatorial Forum. And welcome back to the Birmingham Junior League's 1998 Gubernatorial Forum. I'm NBC 13 News anchor Melina Cunningham. We've heard from the candidate themselves, and now we will hear more as tonight's selected panel will begin questioning them. Superintendent Mason will ask the first question, and it will be directed to Governor Fob James, who will have a minute and a half to answer, and he will be followed by Don Siegelman, who will answer the same question. Mr. Mason?
Every poll indicates that the quality of K-12 education is the #1 concern of Alabama citizens. If you're elected governor, what are the 3 most important things you will do in the next 4 years to improve K-12 education in our state?
To support with great tenacity the efforts of our State Superintendent of Education, whereas each school is put on alert, and we know there are problems, and were it not for this, those problems would not be on the table. Many of you read about schools on alert. That's part of my program. It brings it up where all can see it. Before 1995, the schools would have been in jeopardy. You never would have heard about it. Then the Superintendent of Education, if he has to take over, he's got 2 years. It could be a new principal. It could be change the management. It could be new teachers. It could be trying to inspire parents to do a better job. As you so well know, Doctor, there's a myriad of reasons that a child is not learning. They are multiple, and what is the key? Fundamentally, if the resources are there, is good management. And we must support Ed Richardson as he reforms and turns those schools upside down that are not meeting the strengthened standards that we set in 1995 and provided the resources to do exactly that.
Thank you so much, Mr. James. Mrs. Siegelman, the same question. You have a minute and a half.
Well, we're going to have a preschool program, a voluntary preschool program for 4-year-olds to teach kids how to learn, how to think, reason, communicate, solve problems, work with state-of-the-art computers before they even get into kindergarten. Then we're going to have state-of-the-art computers and raise the quality and standards in K through 12. I have proposed a plan to increase salaries to the national average for teachers and principals, but holding them accountable for the first time, tying teacher performance to student achievement. Training money, additional training money for teachers, raising teachers' salaries, but also testing, a pre-certification test for new teachers, tough evaluations for existing teachers, and then holding principals responsible if schools fail. Finally, I've put forth a plan to control school violence. My opponent has said that he doesn't know what a governor can do about school violence. Well, folks, I want to tell you what I'll do. As governor, first of all, I will remove portable classrooms and eliminate them as an acceptable standard for safe, permanent classrooms. Next, we will end out-of-school suspension where kids get in trouble and replace it with in-school supervised detention. Have a statewide system of alternative schools, as was recommended by Children's First for chronic troublemakers. And third, have a one-strike-and-you're-out policy for guns and drugs in our schools. Those are some of the things that I will do. I will pay for my scholarship plan with an Alabama lottery for education. We'll pay for our computers with an Alabama lottery for education. And our preschool will be paid for with an Alabama lottery for education.
Thank you, Mrs. Siegelman. Our next question will be asked by panelist Elaine Witt, and it will be answered first by Mr. Siegelman.
Georgia, North Carolina, and other states have developed long-range plans for economic development. Should the Alabama legislature and the governor approve such a plan for Alabama? And what should be the key elements of such a plan?
Well, of course we should have a long-range plan. And the governor should lead that plan. As governor, I will be concerned about economic development. I'll work at it every day. But the key to economic success in this state will be my plan to change education. Once we have given our children the best education possible and prepared them to meet the challenges of the 21st century by giving them the kind of education that I have proposed, with preschool, with state-of-the-art computers, and challenging our kids to go on to college. And my plan differs greatly from that you've heard from Fob James. But challenging our kids to go on to two-year institutions where they learn technology and skills and be prepared for the jobs of the 21st century. Once we have a 21st century workforce, not only will our kids be able to get jobs with dignity and security and jobs that will pay them enough to prepare for their family's future, but Alabama will have a workforce of the future so that we can attract the kinds of jobs, high-paying, high-skilled jobs that will keep our families together, that will keep our children here in this state so they can marry and work and raise their families in this great state. As governor, economic development will be an active priority of mine.
Thank you, Mr. Siegelman. Governor James, and if you need the questioner to repeat the question, it's okay to ask.
I think I understand the question. I was in manufacturing business all my life before I became governor. When you speak of economic development, you speak of the business climate interstate. Business climate in Alabama right now has dictated that we have the lowest unemployment in the history of the state. Industrial investment in this state is the highest ever the last 3 years. That comes from having an excellent workforce that is well trained. That comes from an infrastructure that understands transportation and the state docks are fundamental. I proposed a $700 million bond issue. My friend Don Siegelman killed it in the Senate. There is no excuse for not using our revenue for infrastructure. That is a muscle of Alabama industry. That is what makes Alabama competitive, and that is what we have stressed. We have broken all records relative to the creation of jobs in the state of Alabama the last 3 years. Over 100,000 jobs, and the high-paying jobs, from boring to our chemical industries to our forest industries, and the list goes on. Around the world, people know Alabama is a good place to do business.
Thank you, Governor James. Our next question will come from Ms. Tarinda Williams, and Governor James, you will answer first.
In order for parents to work, quality daycare and after-school care are essential. Right now, about 10,000 children are on the daycare waiting list. How would you help to reduce the number of children on the daycare waiting list and provide more after-school care for working parents?
That to me or to Don? The question is to devote resources to it. That would come fundamentally from the general fund. I am pleased to report that as of September 30th, the general fund finished the year with a $36 million surplus. Those funds should be allocated in part to providing those services. In addition, incentives to industry to provide child care for working mothers is very important. That is the best way to go if you can accomplish that. Welfare rolls are down to an all-time low. The combination of driving your welfare rolls down and providing care at the workplace is the best combination, and we will continue to support that effort.
Well, first of all, let me say that my education plan provides money through an education lottery for a voluntary preschool program for every 4-year-old in this state. This is not just a daycare center where you drop off your kid and come pick them back up. This is a place where kids will learn the basics in reading and writing and math, but learn to think and to reason and to communicate and to solve problems and to work with state-of-the-art computers. I visited a Georgia preschool program in Columbus, and it was amazing seeing all these little 4-year-olds at a computer lab with state-of-the-art computers. These kids are going to be prepared to enter college, enter preschool, enter K through 12, enter into kindergarten, and succeed in school and make their grades and be better students. So, when we talk about a daycare process, my plan for education includes a preschool program, but also in the Senate, when we passed the Welfare Reform Act, we included money for transportation and for daycare so that women who have children would have a responsible place to leave them while they went off to work.
Thank you, Mr. Siegelman. And I just wanted to let you all know, when I stand up, that means you have 30 seconds left. So you don't have to wrap up so quickly if you don't like to. Mr. Mason, we start again with you, and Mr. Siegelman, you'll be first to answer.
Do you believe ongoing training that enables teachers to increase their effectiveness is necessary to improve our schools? And do you believe the state's current allotment of $60 per teacher per year is adequate to address this need?
Well, the answer is no. It is absolutely essential that we invest in teacher training. A recent study indicated that a $500 investment in teacher training was more valuable than anything else that we could do to improve student performance. And that's why I will triple the amount of money that is currently allotted. I believe it's $120 now. It was raised by Governor James to $120, but that is not nearly enough. I propose to raise it to $360 a year per teacher, because that investment will help teachers learn how to teach the subject. It's not enough for teachers to know what to teach. They must know how to teach, and that's why I think the pre-certification test for new teachers and the tough evaluation for existing teachers, coupled with adequate funds for teacher training, is a very important investment. And finally, my proposal to increase teachers' salaries to the national average will ensure that we'll be able to not only to get the best teachers into the classroom, but to keep them there.
Thank you, sir. Governor James.
Teacher training, of course, is essential, and continuation of it. We have strengthened the teacher certification standards where all new teachers coming into the system not only have to be recommended, have their degree, but also have to, as you know, pass a certification test. In addition to that, we have made that more open, where those that have degrees in engineering or chemistry